We started off. Let me know it's live. All right, it's
What's good?
live. What's good, everybody? Hip Hop Roundtable and Reviews. This is Ansem, aka BLG, aka Bootleg Gang. Of course, we got Sean P. Of course, the host of this shit. We're
Uh-huh.
here to talk about our first reaction to the Nas DJ Premier album, Light Years. Go ahead, Sean.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, y'all. Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. That's answer to the intro this morning. This is a special, a little bit of a special pod that we doing this morning since
Mm-hmm.
the reaction came out yesterday, really, on the Nas DJ Premier Light Years album, highly anticipated album of this year. You could argue this is a highly anticipated album in hip hop history, given the status of Nas and DJ Premier in the GOAT discussions in their respective fields, whether it be producer or MC. So let's get right to it. Lance, hold on. Let me get my banner up, but I'm not going to waste any time. What's your first take on the Nas and DJ Premier Light Years album?
So I'm going to bring two sides to this. You're going to hear my opinion,
Yeah.
and then you're going to hear other people's opinion to me.
Oh yeah, and we're going to talk about the public reaction too. Definitely do that.
But I definitely want to bring both sides throughout this whole video because I can understand why people are saying what they're saying, but
Yeah.
I'm also recognizing what Nas is doing. There's a reason why
Exactly.
this album is called Light Years.
Yeah.
With that said, the minute I heard the first song, I already know this is not going to be a regular DJ Premier album.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a much of a hip hop fan to where if I hear something, it gives me a sign, okay, I know something new is going to come up. Even when we go
Off
back to
the rip.
Outkast's first album, Southern
Yeah.
Playlist to Cadillac Funky Music, the last song of that album is Deep. That was the most unique song of that album because it didn't have the same vibe as the rest of the album, but it
That's
gave
right.
you a vibe that something different is coming, which is A.T. Elliot's.
Yeah.
This gave me that feeling the moment I heard My Life Is Real. Even
Uh-huh.
though it's chopped up just like your particular premiere album,
Yeah.
it ain't the premiere drums that we're used to.
That's
And if
right.
it is, it's probably closer to your Prime 1 and Prime 2 with his collaboration with DJ Premier, where
I
he
bet. Yeah.
purposely went different because
You're
he
right
only
about that.
focused on one
Yeah.
producer. And I accidentally spit on here. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
I apologize, y'all. It's early. It's still in the morning. I had to deal with some stuff in the house. But yeah, this album, I knew it was going to sound different the minute I heard the first track.
Uh-huh.
With that said, I'm on my eighth listen. There's no way this album can be whack if I'm on my eighth listen.
I
And
hear
this
that.
album hasn't even been out for 24 hours.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sean?
Yeah. I got a lot to say on this. I'm glad you brought up the point of uh Nas's first track on here, My Life Is Real, because I do think there was a different tone for this album.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, my reaction is this was definitely a stark difference from the King's Disease and Magic series.
And
Definitely, you heard it from the first track on. The vibe was different, the tone was different. Even um, Nas's lyrical content was different on this. Like this was more nostalgic Nas, more paying homage Nas. This was Nas more late 2000s, early 2000s and 10s. I say pre Life is Good Nas, right? I say basically hip hop is dead Nas, I would say, to Life is Good Nas. And that range, right? Which is still great Nas. You know what I mean? Nas to me is the greatest of all time. I make no bones in saying that. Um, but the thing about it is that it's definitely different from the Nas I was expecting to hear, because I was expecting to hear the King's Disease Nas, which was more of a more mature boss up Nas. Nas being a boss, a CEO, a more reflective, um, mature boss, if you will. You know what I mean? That's looking back on the industry and looking back on where he is and how he's a king. It's like he was looking down on everybody and basically explaining to y'all, this is how you move. Like King's Disease, Nas reminds me more of a Jay-Z, more of how Jay-Z would rap. You know what I mean? And that's the Nas I like. You know what I mean? That's where Nas should be in this space.
I
But
never thought about it like that. Okay.
yeah, this was like a throwback, like to maybe like the early 2010s, late 2000s Nas, which was still dope because I enjoyed a lot of the tracks on here. Madman, My Life Is Real, you brought up. Writers, I like that story about graffiti art. People don't understand that graffiti art is one of the 5 elements of hip hop, you know? And that was a real dope story that he flipped, you know? Sons, and of course, Nasty, Esco, and Nasir. That was a fire. That was kind of like his version of Death of Slim Shady in a way, like where he had like the 2 phases of Nas, which were alter egos, and they kind of killed each other. And now he's just Nasir. Like I like that, you know.
What about Get Ready though, Mr. Cryptocurrency Scarface?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. But that was kind of the boss talk like I wanted to hear. Like you didn't hear much of the fly talk, the braggadocio, the you know, I'm just that dude. I'm the shit now. Not a lot of braggadocio on here, but still some slick bars in here. He did throw out a little dig, subtle dig at Jim Jones, I think, when he said, I taught y'all how to dress, but y'all still a mess, like kind of. Like, I don't know if people picked up on that, you know, but that was a little dig at Jim Jones, I think, over the whole fashion argument, debate. But I think Nas brought it overall on here, definitely. Like I said, those are the kind of tracks that stood out so far. I'm not going to give like a formal review yet. I'm still listening. I'm on my like 4th listen, you know, but if you're not going to say this is not a dope album, I mean, that's ridiculous, man. That's just ridiculous. It's at least dope. I mean, it's dope lyrics. The beats to me are still dope. Are they top of the line production? No. And we'll get to that.
But it makes me appreciate DJ Premier's last 2 projects even more because if Rock Marciano had these beats, it wouldn't sound the same. If Nas had the Ransom beats on the Reintervision, it probably would be better.
Yeah,
this just shows you how much of a better MC Nas is, not just compared to those 2, because those are dope MCs, Ransom and Rock Marciano, but everyone ever overall, because the majority of these rappers need the beat.
Nas doesn't.
Nas doesn't need the beat.
So are you saying indirectly that he carried this album?
Absolutely. Like this is the first DJ Premier album where the rapper outshined him.
That's interesting, man. That's a very interesting
take. It's very rare where you hear a rapper outshine Nas. I don't even think there's a DJ Premier produced song where Jay-Z outshined Nas. Not even Friend or Foe or The Evils. Or A Million and One Questions, Rhyme No More, which may be the closest, but the beats bodied that whole joint. But yeah, I like the way how DJ Premier adapted to Nas instead of Nas adapting to DJ Premier on here.
I like that. I like the way you said that. So I mean, before we get to public perception, and I see where you're going with this. I think if you're a lyrics head and you're a boom bap head that want to hear the bars and you don't want to hear so much the 808s and the drums and drown out what the message is, this is the album for you. This is more of an album for lyrics heads, but those who really want to appreciate the lyrics more so. Would you say that?
Even though he does have a little bit of 808 on here, he does make it up tempo. Like there's some songs where it doesn't sound like a Premier beat, but you know Premier did it. Perfect example. Welcome to the Underground, where you expect this to be a classic Premier sound.
Yeah.
But instead you get a rock sample. May have been a original beat,
Yeah.
That just happened to be a remade sample, but the feel of it still gave that. Okay, I know Premier did it, but why is Premier making a beat like this? Because it's Nas.
That's right. He tailored these beats specifically for Nas. That's very interesting. Now the public perception of it all, like it's getting heavy debate online.
And I love it.
Yeah,
And I love it.
it's all the talk
Because you're seeing
online
just
right.
as much people not liking the album as people liking this album.
Yeah,
It's almost like they're treating it like it's a battle between Nas and DJ
but you know
Premier.
what it is? It's not even. I don't even think it's people not liking the album. It's people that are not liking the album that it's classic or it's going to get hyped up as classic versus people that really like the album. Because if you're going to say this album is whack, the only people that are going to say it's whack are people that don't really listen to Nas.
But
You know,
let's
and you're not even in that kind of school of hip hop. You got your own vibe that you're on, you know, and you know who those type of listeners are. You're not going to be like the universal hip hop listener is going to take a different approach to this, or the more the boom bap heavy, the more legacy hip hop fan is going to take a different listen to this. But if you're of a certain age and you don't like a certain rap, you know, this is not for you. But the Seven Legends series probably wasn't for you, if that makes any sense. So
yeah, matter of fact, Mike from our group, he said the only dope album was the Mobb Deep one.
Oh yeah. He went off. He went off on that one. Shout out to Mike Walden, who's one of our good members in Hip Hop Roundtable Presents the Review,
Shout out Mike.
Facebook group. He definitely has some points, and he went off on this. Said the Conway album was better, which I didn't get to, you know, which he's entitled to his opinion. But I think his whole thing is he is anti anything that's old school sounding. You know what I mean? Anything that's traditional sounding or what have you. But
whoa. If he's anti old school and anti traditional, you have to be anti Premier, because Premier is literally both.
We're gonna get to that. But yeah. Well, the thing about with Mike is he kind of he wants like the older hip hop rappers to have a modern sound. He wants them to evolve. I think that's his thing. You know,
That
Mike's
makes
not
sense.
here on the podcast to defend himself, but I'm not really attacking his style. That's his listening taste. He said he wants things to be more musical or more music friendly, but he's got to understand at the same time, like, and he said the Seven Legends series was like the worst and worst since Kanye did his thing, the 7 albums back in 2018. But you got to
forget the quality control run.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that you got to understand this series was made for legacy hip hop. This was made for the older hip hop fan, you know?
Yeah.
And Nas kind of brought these artists back into the hip hop conversation. You know what I mean?
And told them to not change.
Yeah. And
that's what makes me appreciate this more.
I disagree. I do think that, especially like the Mobb Deep album, it did have a little bit more of a modern sound. It sounded more up tempo. Raekwon had more energy than he usually did. You know what I mean? Now, some of the other albums, like the Slick Rick, well, I didn't care for. The Big L album was a total posthumous album. So forget about that. I think that was the weakest out of there. I mean, we'll get to where this ranks in the Seven Legends.
Yeah,
series.
I don't think that was really made to be. I think people expect to be all new verses. Well, really, the estate was just trying to get their fair shares of the verses that have been used. And
but
stuff. There were a couple of new verses, but most of the verses we've heard before. But it was still okay for what it was.
But I mean,
I like it more than Slit Rick, that's for sure.
Yeah, on a Seven Legends series, it's almost like you canceled out the Seven Legends series even before it started because you only want to hear this kind of hip hop. You know what I mean? So that's his opinion. That's what he wants to hear. I totally disagree because I think the Seven Legend series, I mean, outside of the Seven Legend series, what other real albums outside of Alfredo, Let God Sort 'Em Out, are really talked about this year? I guess Jid, maybe. You know what I mean? Jid got a Grammy nomination. Jid had a pretty dope project. What's another one? Cardi B, which I gotta. I mean, I could do a whole other episode on that. She she is lucky she came out in kind of a period where the mainstream is kind of just fell apart. Because if she came out in a year where Kendrick and all the other mainstream artists and Cole and all they were all popping, she would have been forgotten about.
Yeah.
So the Seven Legends series is definitely one of the biggest moments this year in 2025. It definitely set the tone, especially for legacy hip hop. So, but if you don't like that and that's your thing, hey, by all means, you're entitled to your opinion. But
Yeah.
I totally disagree with that.
Let me get my I'm gonna go quickly through the playlist and just give it between a 1 to 10. My Life is Real. I give that
Okay,
an
you know
8.
what? Hold on. Let me pull up the track list for you.
Okay, because I'm gonna go through it real quick
Let me do
to get
that
back
so
to our discussion.
we can give
Because
a
I know you're gonna give your
visual,
overall opinion later. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I'll
a
just quickly
visual
give mine.
representation. So yeah, go ahead,
I
Lance.
want to buy the vinyl. The only thing is they're putting out the white vinyl right now. I'm waiting for the album cover vinyl to appear. I was told that Amazon is putting out the official album art cover for the vinyl in February of next year. So shoot, if I gotta wait till February, hey, I'll do that. My
Yeah.
Life is Real. I give it an 8.
Okay.
Get Ready. I give it a 9.
Okay.
New York State of Mind Part 3. The only reason why I give that a 7 because it's nowhere near Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, I wanna stop there for a minute. New York State of Mind Part 3. Because I actually was gonna ask your opinion on this. That's gotten a lot of polarizing opinions, man. This
Yeah.
this album. Believe it or not, I listened to it last night. In a weird way, I like the beat. You know what I mean? I like the beat on that. That's a very dark, eerie beat. You know what
And
I
that's the
mean?
thing. The beat is
Yes.
tough. I just think that Nas didn't rap. This should have been the longest song of the album.
Yeah, and I think they played this New York State of Mind concept out too much. I mean, I would have left it alone after part one and part two.
I think it would have worked if he added a third verse.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we get it. You could talk about New York so many times. This almost seems to me like a dark version of Jay-Z and Alicia Keys' New York State of Mind. Was not New York State of Mind.
Well,
You
one
know,
thing he did do, he did bring back the concept of two of his best friends, and they're planning that their kids don't get into trouble like they did. And
that's
he
true.
also brought off certain bars from part one on the second verse. He
That's
did do
true.
that.
I mean, it's a polarizing record, but yeah, you can go ahead. You go ahead with your
Now,
list.
this is an unpopular opinion. Welcome to the Underground. I give that a 10. And the
Wow.
reason why I give this a 10 is because this is not your normal premiere sounding beat, but this is one of my favorite beats on the album. And
Mm-hmm.
Nas's approach to this song, because it's kind of made the point. Like, we're from the underground. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to expect how we going to sound. You thinking Premier going to bring that group home, J. Rule the Damager type of sound here. No, we're going to go different than that.
Okay.
This is actually like one of my favorite songs of the album. Madman is the first beat where I could be like, okay, this is 90s Premiere. Madman.
That's the hardest song on
I
the
give
album.
that a 10.
Yes.
Pause Tapes. I give that an 8. I can understand if someone doesn't like this beat, but he did it for a reason because that's the point. The beat was supposed to be simple because he made the beat as if you're doing it on a cassette.
Now that reminded me of 90s Premiere. I like
Yeah,
the
it
pause.
does. And that's what I don't get. People like, oh, the beat too simple. The 90s Premiere had simple beats too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the realness. Yeah. Where we at?
Writers.
Writers. Writers may be the best song on the album. That's a 10.
I fuck with that. I definitely fuck with
Sons.
writers.
I
Yes.
take that back because Sons was like another version of Daughters, technically.
Yeah.
Listen to that song. He redid like the daughter's hook and made it dedicated to the young men. So
Only thing
I
is,
give that an 8.
you know what? Sons, Young Kings. My thing is, for some reason, it felt too short. Like I wanted almost another verse. I get he wants to make the songs like more modern and more
And
attention
that's
friendly.
where he's keeping it modern. The time length.
Yeah,
Not
I wanted
necessarily
a little bit.
not sound, but the time length. That's where he keeps it modern.
I'll save this for my review when I finally get my rating on this. But
But
I
Magic
think
had
he
the
could have
same
done
thing
more with
too.
this song. He could have done more with this.
But
And that's
Magic
just
had
my
the same
opinion.
thing too. And to me, Magic is the best Hit Boy album. So
Yeah,
I understand that though, but I really
this
like
song
Magic.
could have been better, but I like the song nonetheless. You're right on that.
It's Time. I give that a 7
Yeah,
because that's probably the only premiere beat where it's like, okay, you're using a typical sample. Like it's this was the only predictable premiere sounding beat, which is weird because niggas want predictable classic premiere beats, and this is an example of that. But to
yeah,
me, this may be the worst song on the album, but I still fuck with it. I give it a 7.
yeah.
Everything after that is where okay, whoa, Nasty Esco Nazir 10.
Hard.
My story, your story 9. If there was a third verse, I give it a 10.
Yeah, my
Bouquet
thing
to
is,
the ladies, I give that a 9. The only reason why I don't give it a 10, he shout out Sexy Red and Ice Spice.
but you know what? You know what I didn't like about that is, and this is another thing. It was too much talking and shout outs. Like he did shout them out, but it's like you could have gave us another verse and talked about he could have done more with this song. That's all it is. But I actually this is one of my favorite beats on the album. But it's too much talking, too many shout outs. And I get it, you want to pay homage to all the ladies, but it's like, all right, man, like you he could have done more as far as a verse as to, you know, maybe telling like a story about Foxy Brown or something. I don't
Or if
know.
he did another, or if he actually turns those shout outs into a third verse, I can get what you're saying. Just
Yeah,
like how he
yeah,
did the first. But
yeah.
I
But
still
I like
like
the
it.
beat. The
I
beat is
still
one of
like
my
it.
favorite
You
beats
shout out
on the
Shay
album.
Noir. I know that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Junkie. That song is hard. I think this is the type of beat most people wanted on most of this album. Junkie.
Yeah.
Junkie is a 10.
I really
Shine
want I
Together.
you know, we're gonna differ on this one because I wasn't really feeling Junkie
You
like
wasn't
that.
feeling Junkie,
It was,
even
I
though the
mean, it
story
wasn't
behind it.
bad. It was more filler to me because it's like, yeah, I get the concept. I get, you know, you're addicted to hip hop and blah blah blah. But this concept has been used over and over again, you know, from not the same, you know, type of vein, but kind of the same with, you know, I used to love her and making hip hop a girl and she left me here. I broke up with her here. And but this is like now you're using hip hop as like you're an
Right.
addict and it's a drug to
And
you. Yeah,
alcohol, yeah.
yeah, I get
But
it.
I still
But
fuck with it though,
I
man.
mean, it's not a bad song, but it's just like, all right, I've been here before, you know?
Shine Together to me is another example of a beat people wanted to hear more of that type of premiere. I give that a 9.
I'll stop you there, man. I fuck with that song. I fuck with that song,
No, that
man.
song dope.
Not even the beat, but it's just Nas's vibe and his mic presence on there is fire. It's boss like. You know what? I like Shine Together. That's fire, man. It really
Now,
is.
Third Childhood, the first time I heard this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, this is definitely a step down from Second Childhood. But then the more I hear it, the more it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what Nas albums do. It's like the first time you heard I Am, you're like, why is I Undying Love on this album? But then the more you hear it, the more it makes sense. I give that an 8.
I hear
Third
it. Yeah.
Childhood.
I'm kind of not feeling that. But like I said, that could grow on you. Like you just like you said, like Nas albums, they grow on you. So I got to give it some time. I'm still on my fourth listen, so I
Yeah.
want to give this a couple more days before I give a full, review overall. But yeah, that's a great breakdown, man. That's a great breakdown.
Now, the
Great
way people are
breakdown.
coming to me with this album, it seems like Get Ready, Madman, Riders, Sons,
Yeah,
Nasty, Esco, Nazir, My Story, Your Story, shine together. That's it. The rest,
yeah,
it don't sound like Premier, or the beats are too clean, or he's not using those Premier drums from the '90s, or he don't
yeah.
sample the same, even though he is sampling the same. It's just it's the sound's a lot more brighter. It's a lot more cleaner. I've noticed since the Prime album, he's been cleaning up his production a whole lot.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it made me appreciate the Rock Marciano premiere album more, because I'm like, if Nas had these beats, they would have sounded way better.
Great segue. Great segue. Because this is the debate that's going on. Oh, my bad. I got the wrong banner up. Here we go. Okay. This is the great debate going on online right now. Is the DJ Premier bring down the quality of this album? I got so much to say on this. I'll let you
I'll
have
let
your
you go
first.
first for this.
Well, all right. Here's my deal. Like I said, this is a stark difference from Hit Boy and Nas. And what I'll say is, I'm gonna admit, for the first time, well, not the first time, but I'm gonna admit to being a little bit of a hypocrite, because for years the narrative was Nas couldn't pick beats. His production always lacked. His, rhymes always outshined his production. But I never had a problem with it until the King's Disease and Magic series came along, when you heard Nas on A level, A plus quality beats. And I'm going to admit, I'm spoiled. I was expecting almost that level of beat production on here. And I think what people are upset about is DJ Premier has a gold standard name as one of the greatest producers of all time, top 5, top 3, whatever.
Yeah.
And people were expecting better than Hit Boy on this. They were expecting more than that. And they got a lesser quality. They got beats that, like you said, were more 90s like. They were very simple cuts, chops, simple sample loops that had been used before. Nothing intricate. The beats weren't layered like other producers. But this really opened up a bigger question than me. Just not about this album, but is it more that the rest of the game and producers have producers, or the top modern producers have basically passed Primo, and Primo is basically left back to the middle of the pack today in 2025? Or was it that Primo just had weaker beats on here? Because this is my whole premise on this. Right now, Alchemist, Hit Boy, I would say Conductor Williams, I would say Derringer, I would even say, even though this is kind of not the same lane, but he has gotten better as a producer, Metro Boomin. And yeah, I do bring him up because as me as a universal hip hop fan, I do listen to that other side, the trap side, the turn up side. His beats are better. His sampling is better. You know what I mean? Metro Boomin. Have they passed Primo by? You know what I mean? Even I'll give you do one that's even better.
If you want to speak on that perspective, then
Hold
you can
on.
say
I'm not
yes.
done yet. I'm
No,
not
go
done
ahead.
yet.
Go
What
ahead.
about Pharrell? And that's what
I was about to bring up.
And I'm not. And listen, I will die on this hill. Pharrell has the best album production out of any album this year, period. And what did Pharrell do? He changed his style. He totally changed his style as to what he used to be. This Pharrell is different. So even Pharrell, who is in the same conversation as DJ Premier. So is it that DJ Premier just came up small on this project, or have those producers pass Primo by?
Okay. I was going to bring up Pharrell, but for a totally different reason.
Yeah.
But before I bring up that totally different reason, I guess this is where we're going to go back and forth. I disagree with Pharrell.
Okay,
I look at
I
Pharrell the
know.
same exact way I look at DJ Premier.
Okay.
Because me personally, even though lyrically Let God Sort 'Em Out may be Clip's best album, sonically I can't put it over Lord Willin' and especially Hell Hath No Theory, which to me is the Clip's best album.
Yeah.
With that said, you saying that Conductor Williams and Metro Boomin and Alchemist surpassed Primo was
Yeah.
really no different than people saying the old Kanye, the Neptunes, and Dilla past Primo in the 2000s. It's just that
Okay.
Primo always
Yeah.
stuck to his own vibe.
That's
At
true.
this point, Primo's not trying to compete. He's just letting you know, like, hey, when you hear a Premier album, we're not going to sound like everything else. He's at that point right now. And I think the reason why Pharrell worked this year is because Pharrell adapted to this style, but he also
There
brought
you
back
go.
old styles as well.
There you
Because
go.
one thing about Pharrell is he'll always do some old school stuff, but he won't sample it. He'll just replay the beat.
Yeah.
Like the last song on Let God Sort 'Em Out, where he replayed the James Bond sample, for
Yeah.
example.
Mm.
But to answer your question, and this is where I have to bring other people's opinions to me, other people will say yes for the simple fact that we want that 90s premiere.
Okay.
At most 2000s Gate Star.
Yeah. Okay.
At most that. But Premier done shown you since Prime that, yo, he's not looking back, just like Nas.
Hmm.
When Nas said in the beginning of Stillmatic, they want another Illmatic, but I'm moving forward, not backwards. That's been Premier the entire time.
Hmm.
So someone would say that just because either A, they want Premier to change something more modern, or B, they didn't like the beats on this album because it didn't sound like the old. So you could sort of get the Knife Wonder effect,
Hmm.
where when Knife Wonder was always critiqued for using the same beats, but once he changes the beats, he gets critiqued more, saying he should go back to those beats.
Yeah.
That's the effect that Premier was always getting since the 2000s.
See, my criticism was, I don't know if Premier was neither on this. He was simple on this, but he didn't have the gritty nature of the late 90s, early 2000s Primo.
Because of the equipment that he used. That's why.
Yeah, I was expecting that. And like you said in the beginning, there was a different sound to this, but it did sound a little bit watered down. But I think I agree with you in the effect he did this to tailor this to Nas so Nas could get his message off. He almost took a step back, almost, with these beats. But I want to be honest with you. If it had more beats with bite to it, you know what I mean? Sort of like a Pharrell on Let God Sort 'Em Out. This easily will be going away album of the year, But I mean, it did take a little step back in the production. You can't deny it, But I think where the reach is people are saying, well, the album is trash because of it. And I don't see that at all. It's at least a dope album. But it's either, it's from that crowd or not people who just don't fuck with Nas altogether, or they expected some, turn up album or some album that was going to be catered to the mainstream when the Seven Legends series was never catered towards that. So that's where I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe the production was a little notch down, but it's still a quality album. I mean, you can't go and say it's trash just because the beats were not what Primo used to be in his prime.
I can't even say Premier brought the quality down. I would say Nas brought the quality down.
And why would you say that?
Because Nas still picked these beats.
I like how you put that.
My only problem with this album, my only have two problems with this album.
That's facts, though.
One, the song Bouquet.
Yeah.
He gave a tribute to all female rappers, whether you're dope or trash.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, Ransom the Intervention had better beats. Production wise, Ransom the Intervention was clearly better. The problem was it was only 6 tracks. So compare a 6-track album to a 15-track album. There is no, if I'm not mistaken, there is no song on
I can agree with
this
that.
album that is better than. No, let me rephrase that. There's no beat on this album, Light Years, that is better than. I'm waiting for the song to come up. My bad. It's running a little slower than normal.
You're talking about the second Ransom track?
That one. That's a cut above. That's the hardest beat Premier made this year. Like, that's 90s Primo.
I can agree.
That's the type of beat that you would give to Big Shug. Niggas don't know about Big Shug, yeah.
Oh yeah.
A cut above.
You know, now that I'm looking at it, if
Survivor's Remorse.
If they use
like the funny thing is the least best beat on the Ransom album was the single Amazing Grace. The rest, I don't think people recognize that Ransom had some very good production this year. It just happened to be short projects, just like
Nas would have worked in the 6 cuts from Ransoms as beats on this album. Yeah, that definitely would have improved this album a whole lot.
Like, imagine if this album was the production from Rock Marciano's album and Ransom's album.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because like I said, Rock Marciano to me was more of the problem than Premier was on that project. Like Premier washed like Marciano. So I'm like, okay, with Alchemist beats, and this is probably why Alchemist is a better producer right now, because Alchemist will let you be lazy with his lazy production and make it work at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Alchemist to me, I think is the better version of DJ Premier now. And
I mean, it's safe to say that. Just like some people told me, like Alchemist is a better version than Jay Dilla.
I think Alchemist passed DJ Premier like 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't go that far, but
all
time, I got Dilla over Premier.
Yeah.
If I would have bought Alfredo 2, then I could say Alchemist over Premier, because I was actually expecting Alfredo 2 to be the best album this year.
Okay. Let me say this.
Because Alfredo 1 was classic.
I think up until about 10 years ago, the quality of beats between Primo and Alchemist was about even. After that period, I think Alchemist took off. Now, as far as like all time, I still have Primo in my top 5, you know, but I might have Alchemist in my top 5 right now. You know, right now I'd have to say,
do you have the Neptunes in your top 5 or 10?
No, I have Dr. Dre, Timberland, Primo. I got Timberland, Primo, Kanye, and that 5th spot is either RZA or Alchemist, and I'm leaning heavily on Alchemist now because
you're closer than me, believe it or not. That's what's up.
Yeah,
my number 1 is always Jay Dilla. My number 2 is still Premier. My number 3 is Pete Rock, and I find it funny that people bring up Pete Rock. 4 and 5 always changes, so we'll save that for another time. But I find it interesting that people saying Nas would have sound better on Pete Rock beats, yet people said the same thing about this Common Pete Rock album that came out last year. Like that sound, it didn't give the SP 1200 Pete Rock sound. Because you know what album that Pete Rock did use SP 1200 beats on? The Sky Zoo album. That's why that album sounds dirty.
Yeah.
People wanted this Nas Premier album to sound dirty like that, but there was a reason why it's called like
Yeah,
that.
we wanted more of a gritty sound on this one. I think um, people were disappointed from that.
Like Madman
Um,
sounds like Dr. Dre produced it.
yeah, and that's another point. Like Dr. Dre, even though he's my number one guy, I don't know if he's the same guy he was, 10, 15 years ago, because his last album was with Snoop was good, but it wasn't great. And he did get a little bit of heat for overdoing things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Now, if you're talking about like his sounds, I
Yeah.
agree with, but his mix downs is what I'm talking about.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've seen some people saying they did not like the mix down of this album because it sounded too polished. But I
Yeah.
think Nas wanted this album to sound polished because the drums, not the drums, but the kicks on this album and the thumps on this album are a lot harder than the
So it's
Re-Innovision
really it's
and
not DJ Premier's fault.
Rock
It's
Marciano's.
Nas's fault for constructing this album this way. That's a
You
great
you
point.
have to say that because
You have to blame.
people have said that about Nostradamus, even though people are liking Nostradamus more the older we get. And that's
Yeah.
why I said Nas is ahead of this time of this album. This album is going to be liked a whole lot more 10 years from now.
Oh yeah.
We're going to see producers starting making their mix downs like this 10 years from now, the good rappers. Because right now, Conductor Williams is purposely adjusting the tone while he's making the beat and adding the static. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like a
true.
Havoc would. Because,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Havoc and Dilla, they specialize in that static. Even though
that's
Premier
true.
was always doing this stuff, I just thought that. And the funny thing is, he did have that on here on one track, pause tapes. But
Pause
people
tapes.
said it was too simple. But that was the entire point. He made the
But
beat like it was on the
that
cassette.
was 90s. Now see, now that beat, that was 90s primo right there. There it is right there. That's why I like that. It was very nostalgic, and it had the whole, and he wanted that feel. Nas and him wanted that feel for that record. That's why I like that record.
I want Premier to put out an instrumental version of this project next year and see what type of response it get. I got a feeling someone's going to try to rap on this album and said I made a better version. Because trust me, if you had the instrumental
Mhm.
version of Third Childhood, Sean, if this was a beat album, if this was just a beat tape, it would
Yeah,
probably be appreciated a lot more. But
yeah.
because we got the Nas effect, and people are forgetting, Nas is not. Keep in mind, Nas has not stepped down lyrically.
Hmm.
This is the same Nas on the Hit Boy albums. It's just the
Yeah.
production is different.
So is it back to Nas is challenged by picking beats? Is that narrative back? Even though we've had the 6 album Hit Boy
I have to
series.
say yes,
Okay.
just for the fact that we're seeing the response is getting right now. You have to say yes. This is
Yeah.
almost back to we
But the
want
thing
Nas to
about
make
it
another
is,
Illmatic.
well, here's the whole thing. Let me qualify it this way. I think you could blame Nas, but you could blame Nas in putting out this kind of album with these beats versus the expectation of this, because everybody expected this to be a perfect album because of the Illmatic lore with DJ Premier, Nas's
Yeah,
like lore, all of that. So Nas is fighting the perception of what this album's supposed to be
yeah,
versus it just being a dope hip hop album. I think Nas is
yeah.
looking at
He
it
is
as,
fighting that right now.
yeah.
But how are we going to see this years from now? This album will be brought back up again.
So you think this album? Well, it's interesting you say that. Before I segue into where this album ranks, you think this album is going to grow on people? You
Yes,
think this album is going to grow with time? Okay, that's
it's
interesting.
it's definitely going to grow with time.
Okay, because last question: where does this album rank in the Seven Legends series and in the 2025 hip hop discussion so far?
My favorite album of the year is Mobb Deep Infinite.
Okay,
I still put Mobb Deep Infinite over Nas Light Years right now. But years later, it could be the other way around. Because I'm telling you, this album is going to age like incredibly. It's almost like a Loaded Lux verse.
Age factor. Got you.
Like Loaded Lux just battled New Jersey Twerk, and a lot of people felt like, oh, it wasn't one of Loaded Lux's best performances because he was battling New Jersey Twerk. But I was listening to Loaded Lux versus New Jersey Twerk the other day, and I'm like, bruh, if that was done in the U.S., it made it Twerk look worse because the lyricism Lux had in that battle was crazy, and the storytelling that Nas has on here is showing people like, yo, even if you still want to debate the beats, he still bars first, just like he said on the Kanye album, on the last song on that album.
Mm-hmm. True. Where do you think it ranks in the album of the year discussion?
Okay. Right now,
yeah,
I can't make a decision yet, but I will say this: as far as the 7 Legend series, Mobb Deep is number 1. Nas DJ Premier is number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, between Raekwon and De La Soul, Raekwon.
Yeah.
Number 4, De La Soul. Number 5, Ghostface Killer. At last place between Slick Rick and Big L. The only reason why I say Big L is because I'm a Big L fan.
Okay.
I like how the project sounded. Anyone else, even some Big L fans, was like, I heard these verses before. At least Slick Rick's stuff was new. But Slick Rick did have some skits on that project. But keep in mind, this was a particular Slick Rick album.
That was a different sound for Slick Rick too.
Not really, because he had joints like that on his second and third album. To me, his best album is The Art of Storytelling.
Oh,
that was like Slick Rick in the modern day age, and it was a perfect album at that time.
Slick Rick had like more of a UK type of feel, like a European feel.
He definitely did on this project, but he always had that though. And I don't think people expected to hear that at this time.
Bingo. I don't think people were ready for that, you know. But I'm still early in the listening process, but I still go Raekwon and Mobb Deep number 1. And right now, I have this level up with this project, Nas and DJ Premier Light Years with the De La Soul project. You know, am I leaving one out? Wait, hold on. Yeah, I think so. I would say this is either 3 or 4 right now. Yeah, because Ghostface was really mid to me, and I didn't really care for Big L except 7-minute freestyle with Jay-Z, which is like
that remake was dope.
Yeah, that's the
I like the way they cleaned that joint up.
Oh,
I like that.
Yeah. And then Slick Rick rounding out. But could it move up to 3? Possibly. You know what I mean?
I may have to rearrange my top 5 because
I don't think it's at Mobb Deep level yet.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you got to give Nas at least a week for it to grow on you, for you to really get the full vibe of the album, I always say. Because you know what all right, I'll say this. Before I do my, full review, this kind of reminds me of King's Disease, where at first people were like, what is this? And then people over time were like, okay, I see.
That makes sense. King Disease 1.
Yeah.
That is true.
It reminds me of
King Disease 2 like hit people instantly. Yeah, and that's what we saw the real hit
that album
Nas run. So that's true. Yeah.
And as far as my top albums of this year, I don't think it's quite album of the year. It's nothing to me is touching Let God Sort Them Out right now. I don't think this album could grow on me to that point.
Yeah.
Could Nas's album make the top 10? I could see that. Maybe an honorable mention or what have you, but we'll see. It still got room to grow. You know what I mean? Like I think people right now, what they're fighting is they're doing the knee-jerk reaction to the perception of what this album was supposed to be. Like this is supposed to be the greatest album of all time. But when people really sit back and listen and just enjoy it for the real hip hop aspect of this is just, straight beats, straight lyrics, dope vibes over traditional hip hop, people are gonna appreciate it more. I think the more they listen to it. So I think this album could grow on you overall.
Excuse me. Um, this is where me and you go and disagree.
Yeah.
I do put this over Alfredo too.
Mm, mm, mm.
Alfredo 2 was the project that had to grow on me
Okay.
because this Alfredo 2, and I'm sorry for bringing up Alfredo 2, but the way people are reacting to Light Years is how I'm reacting to Alfredo 2. Even though I still like Alfredo 2, it's like this is nowhere near Alfredo 1.
You want to know? Yeah, that's exactly what I said. You want to know something interesting? Alfredo 2 is almost the reverse perception of this album.
It is.
When Alfredo 2 came out, it was like, yo, this album is hands down better than Let God Sort Them Out. And I was still like, I don't know where you're going with that.
No.
But
I didn't agree with that.
Yeah, but
I expected to be better than Let God Sort Them Out, but it isn't.
Yeah. But it's almost as like the year went on, that album kind of didn't age like it was supposed to. People have kind of pushed that aside with more of the 7 Legends series. I know Jid dropped. I don't know who else came out.
And this is another reason why I got 2 Chainz and Larry June over Alfredo 2, because that's the best Alchemist produced album this year.
I still
got another Alchemist album that came out this year, which to me didn't have better rapping but had better beats, is the Arm & Hammer album.
Yeah. Thing about it is I got to go back and listen to that. I got to do my homework on that Larry June and 2 Chainz again, because I heard it first earlier in the year, but I was still on the whole GNX vibe and all of that. So I didn't really pay attention to that album as I should. So I might even re-review that album. But
check out LLC. That's some of 2 Chainz' best rapping.
Yeah. Alfredo 2, I don't know if that's number 2 again. I don't know if Infinite might have passed that. I still think people are sleeping on the Raekwon project, really. That's the best Raekwon has sounded in a long time.
That's the album I'm kind of tossing right now between Clips and Raekwon. Because the more I listen to Clips, I had to, because I had Raekwon as my favorite album of the year. But now I'm starting to see like maybe Clips is better. So I'm tossed up between those two.
Okay, I see where you're going. Yeah.
And I got a feeling that Nas is going to be mixed within those 3 also.
We'll see.
So my 2 to 4 between those 3 albums, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But Deep Infinite is clearly the best Mass Appeal album this year.
I think I don't think Dave East is getting the respect he should be getting for this year, because he's had a very solid year with 2 strong projects.
Would you put that Ransom Conductor Williams project over the Dave East Ransom project?
Dave East and Ransom project? Yes, I would. I would do that right now. Yeah.
Okay. That album.
I think a good debate to have is who's the best. Who's the best? Producer rapper combo this year? Is it Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs? Is it Pharrell Clips? Is it Conductor Williams Ransom?
Better than that. You know what you need to do?
What's that?
You be Dave East and I be Ransom.
Okay.
Let's do like a 20-song battle with that. Just find like they best material within the past 5 years, between 2020 and now.
Do that.
Between Dave East and Ransom, we do like 20 rounds. Let's do that. But
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Ransom's gonna win, but
if you think it's clear, then never mind. Then I thought you was gonna think Dave East might.
Ransom. Listen, let me tell you something. Ransom, to me, my opinion, is the best lyricist in this game right now.
Yeah, I still ain't heard the Conductor Williams project yet.
I mean, I know people, and I know Reese would shout me down and say, "Well, Kendrick Lamar, he did it." But I think we're talking straight bars and rap, and just to the point, because Kendrick's gonna go off on the 3 meanings and a whole bunch of other stuff that may go over listeners' heads sometimes. But Ransom is to the point. You know what I mean? And you get that. I think there's a good bad. I mean, we're gonna do our end of the year awards in a couple of weeks, probably about a month or so. First week of January.
Yeah.
It's between Ransom and Malice as probably the best lyricist this year. Definitely, I think.
Yeah, I gotta think. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, I'm still researching some albums myself. Let
yeah,
me ask you this question: do you
yeah.
think we're gonna see a Nas AZ album?
Well, I'm hearing Nas is gonna do another Seven Legend series. So, or more mass appeal legend collabo projects. So,
I hope that's a
absolutely, it's
yes.
a possibility. Yeah.
I hope that's a yes for
And
sure.
listen, I think Nas should stay with us. Nas, I think, found a niche appealing to the 40 and over hip hop fans and hip hop fans that want real substance. They are not into the mainstream. The mainstream is dead right now, anyway. So, I mean, really, legacy hip hop has a spotlight right now. So it's
And this
like,
goes
why
back to what I was saying about our conversations about like mainstream hip hop is killing hip hop. It's
not? Yeah,
not that mainstream hip hop is killing hip hop. It's that this is one of those years where the mainstream is trash.
that's right. Yeah,
And no one should have a problem saying that. But that's not the same as saying hip hop is dead.
yeah, exactly. That's a perfect. Yeah, I'm so glad you say that, man. That I'm
And that's why
Hip hop is
Nas got
definitely not dead.
Nas got attacked for saying hip hop is dead back in the days, but he was sort of saying mainstream rap is trash. He knows
that's what
underground still
that's what
happening
he
shit.
really wanted to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So
not creative. I mean, I heard some of the 21 Savage album, and I'm like, man, he made this like 3 albums ago. You know, he
and I
got
want
some
to hear
bangers
that
on
album
there, but
too. Because I'm down south, so I gotta hear that album.
yeah, he's okay. You know what I mean? I like
He
21
been talking
Savage
some
ain't
crazy
bad.
promo lately though. Like, yo, you wild a little too much, 21. But hey, he said
Yeah.
some weird stuff about I don't like rap that much. Kendrick cares too much about rap. You're in the music industry. You're
Yo,
supposed to
Reese did a
care about
video.
music, period.
Yeah,
That's why
Reese did a video on that. It's like I don't know. My take on that video is he kind of wanted to like almost give Drake an out because Drake is his homie, talking about he shouldn't have battled him and all of this
but
or
then
what
he would
have you.
contradict himself because that's who
And
Drake is.
yes, he's so contradicted himself.
We know Drake is the singer, but we know Drake the MC too from the
Yeah,
late 2000s, early 2010s. We're not going to act like that Drake didn't exist.
yeah.
You know what
I
I'm saying? So
mean,
that's why he would contradict himself for even bringing that up. You know what I'm saying? And he
yeah,
brought up Jeezy as an example. Jeezy was one of those first rappers of the 2000s saying, "I'm not a rapper. I'm just in hip hop." Yet you're
yeah.
bringing up a lot of hip hop references in your bars.
Yeah, 21 Savage is an interesting guy, man. That interview sparked a lot of talk on the net. I see that. But yeah,
Yeah.
man. Anyway, hip hop roundtable reviews. Definitely check out Nas Light Years. I'm gonna be coming with my formal review probably in a couple days or so once I get through listening through to it a couple times. But tell me what you think. Audience, did DJ Premier bring down the quality of this album? Where does this rank so far in your top albums of the year? And what are your first thoughts of this album? Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. Definitely share your thoughts in the comments too. Ansem, BLG Bootleg, aka Bootleg Gang. I mean, you're definitely check out your platform. I guess
Everybody go to massappeal.com that actually like these albums enough to buy it. I know I'm not a nigga that buy music that much, but I definitely was going to buy the Nas DJ Premier album. That's how much I like this album.
definitely.
Like I said, I expected to buy Alfredo too, but it ain't convinced me to do that. Light Years did. With that said, right now they're pushing a day one's version, which is basically the white label version of the album.
Okay.
But they're putting out the official album art version on Amazon in February. I don't know if it's going to come out on Mass Appeal before then, but right now the white label version of the album is out, and they have it on cassette too. So yeah.
Do you think there are going to be deluxe tracks on this?
That's why I'm waiting.
Ah, okay.
Because the official, I'd rather just buy the official
I hear
album
you.
art because that album cover is dope, bro.
Because
And
that'd be interesting if he added on another 3 tracks on here.
I wish if the Find My Name was on vinyl, I would buy it right now.
Yeah.
Just because if I don't buy Light Years, I'm definitely buying the Find My Name because like low key, that's my favorite Nas song of the 2000s.
Wow.
No, the 2020s. My bad. The
2020.
2020s. My favorite Nas song
Yeah,
right now is the Find My Name.
definitely, man. So with that, everybody enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We will be back with some more content during the week. I'll check y'all out later, all right?
I appreciate it, Sean.
No doubt, man. We'll catch up again. You know that.
Are we still on record? Cut it off.
Yeah.
I got to say something.
All right, y'all. All right.